Hello everybody, and welcome to a new Rat Files video. And I am not done with what happened in 2014. Well, I came to a realization, but first I'm going to watch the red card video that was originally done on me by Rodney Flippin'. And of course, I've heard a lot of bad things about Rodney, and he's been ranting on quite a bit. And before I actually do a rant on him, I'm going to watch the red card video because I'm going to talk about certain parts, and I'm going to explain on whatever is true and whatever is not true. And I'm going to stop the recording every single time. I'm also going to be recording through my camera, so that way it's much easier to where I stop the footage, so that way you'll know which parts I'm going to talk about. And this video, of course, is heartbreaking. This was back on September the 4th, 2014. I was red carded, and of course there was a rant video that was done on me by Steve K. He has since removed it, and I thank him very much. However, because Steve removed his rant video, the only red card video that is available now that was originally done is Rodney's. So I am going to respond to it today, and you'll find out what I talk about in this video. And I'm going to talk about what is fact and what is not true about it. So I'm going to start right now. And of course, if I can't get this processed, I will at least keep the audio, so that way you'll get to hear you'll get to hear me talk about this video in detail. So I'm going to record. First, before I do so, since I don't know how long I'm going to record. Good news is I haven't started the recording of this part yet, so I'm not ready. Okay, there we go. Okay. Alright. I am going to start this recording right now. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to turn to the side, down. Okay, I'm going to start it right now. I'm going to turn it up a little.
Hello guys, YouTubers, and everybody out there. Welcome to our serious red card
yeah,
video.
this was a... I've hardly watched this because it's too painful, but I'm going to watch it because there's stuff I want to say. Now had Steve K's video still been up, and had I still had it archived, I probably would have showed it, because Steve K's had much more better audio, where Rodney's doesn't, because Rodney's has him on camera while he's talking with Skype guests. Oh, and unfortunately, many of the Skype guests that Rodney and Steve had on there, many of them weren't a part of the chat. I just wanted to let you all know. And of course, Rodney wasn't a part of the chat, neither was Steve K. I thought Steve K was originally, but I found out through his rant video that he wasn't. So, alright.
of course, Rodney as well.
Hey, folks.
And WB 1989, Nick Bishop. This man's gonna be a roller coaster ride, so sick to their stomachs.
Now, I will let you know that I talked with Nick after what happened, and I just communicated with him, and he was one of the last one of the last people that I talked with on Skype. And after what happened, I haven't used Skype as much as I used to. That's another fact that I just wanted to tell. Alright, back to the video.
Or just go watch the video. We also have Greg S6 Television, Craig Simmons. If anyone wants to watch, hopefully they try and keep this rant or message video or red card video clean. Hopefully there won't be a whole lot of yelling or screaming, but I am not pleased at what happened recently.
Well, I wasn't pleased at what happened either, but I'm going to be talking more about that as this red card video goes on.
And last but not least, we also have Robin Moore and her mother, Jen.
Hello. Yeah, unfortunately, this red card video has to be done.
Yeah.
Well, it actually didn't have to be done, and I think Robin Moore's mother's name is Jennifer. No, this red card video did not have to be done. I'll explain why as the video goes along, by the way, everybody.
Yes, because unfortunately, last night Robin was supposed to be part of this incident that happened, which is very upsetting. I mean, I'm just going to get this out of the way, if that's all right, Ronnie. So,
That's fine.
I want to say right now that I was not part of this because I was on Skype and I just got...
As you heard, Steve K said he wasn't a part of this, and I did mention that. I thought he was originally, and I even talked about that. I thought he was. I thought he was at the time, but now I know he wasn't. And I'll probably explain who was a part of it that I do know about. There was only probably a few people. So I'll get back to the video.
And I told him there that Patrick Butler, or Patrick Butler, whatever numbers it is, maybe that's his name, said something on Skype and said that Gary was upset with him and he was going to be off of Skype.
Yeah, what happened was Gary got me upset, and that's why I left the Skype chat that Aubrey Scott was holding. But that was not all. I'm going to talk more about that. I'm going to talk about what happened after I left the chat in this particular video while I'm watching this, and I will explain.
So I want everybody to leave him alone. And I want to know what was going on once I messaged.
The reason why I said to leave me alone is because to leave people, I wanted to be left alone was because I wanted my space. That was it. So just in case you wanted to know, that was why. And I was just too upset at the time, and there's more to talk about. So, and I didn't know for a fact that Robin Moore was upset too. So, all right, back with the video.
Gary and said, and Gary's not on here because he's taking a nap, so I said to Gary, when is wrong with Patrick? So he brought me on the call and said that Patrick said something very offensive that was toward on the call and in front of Robin.
See, what that was true, because I thought that Robin Moore got offended by the joke that I told, and they will say the joke that I told. Yeah, I thought Robin Moore got offended by my joke, and I'll explain more in detail as the video goes along.
Beside myself because I was very upset to hear this, and I'm sad that she got upset. And to what happened, what Patrick said, at first it was something that I didn't believe at first, but then when I found out again what he said in a video that Patrick made, he made an apology video and said that he was sorry, but
Now, what Steve said right there wasn't actually true. I did not say my apology because there was no apology video at that time, because I will explain. At that time, I was actually dealing with a cold, and what I was doing before all this happened was I was doing a video on YouTube, and it was for The Simpsons, but because I had a cold, I didn't finish it. I delayed it, and thanks to the incident that happened, I delayed it for quite a bit of time. If it wasn't for what happened, I probably wouldn't have delayed it as much, because I was dealing with a cold at the time, and I was trying to get better. And I don't think I talked as much on the Skype chat as I usually do with Aubrey Scott's Skype chat. And that's because I was still feeling the effects of a cold, and I think I was getting a little better at that time. I don't remember. That's the one thing I don't remember. But I do remember that I was dealing with a cold, and it was eventually going down. Alright, moving on.
I'm not somebody that's really going to believe it, because I am very much upset about it still. But yeah, he said on there that Aubrey was going to pay a Wheel of Fortune for Xbox 360 and the category was sweets. And you know, with Patrick Butler's humor, he said on there that he said the word, I'm sorry to say it, but I have to, and he said the word chocolate penises.
Now, hold on a minute. Yes, I did say that. And Aubrey Scott came up with the Wheel of Fortune category for sweets, and that's what the answer to the Wheel of Fortune category was. That I was, why I actually said that, why I said chocolate penises for the Wheel of Fortune category sweets that Aubrey Scott came up with. That is because I usually came up with funny answers to Wheel of Fortune categories. And there was this category one time that said occupation, I would say gynecologist. If it was food and drink, I would say poop and pee. And if it was what are you doing, I would make a different sort of joke, because Aubrey Scott would usually say none of your business. I would usually say peeing on you and getting away with it. And that it was just something that I wanted different. And I wanted to make a funny joke. That's why I did it differently than Aubrey usually does. So that's why I said chocolate penises for the Wheel of Fortune category sweets. And that was the only thing. But I will explain more while this video is going.
Yes. This, and I'm sorry to say it once again, but I just have to put that out there. But I mean, with his humor and stuff, this has been going on for a while, way before, like back in 2012, I think, maybe earlier than that. I'm not sure exactly, but his humor has always been disgusting, and not only that.
Now I'm going to explain this. When I usually told a joke, I would tell it just for fun. I would not tell it to be offensive. Like I said, with my jokes, I was just being funny, and I was just trying to keep jokes fresh. And because I was limited at the time, I was only telling jokes. Because what I really wanted, and I will explain, I really wanted to be like Aubrey and all of them that were doing these gameplays with Skype friends. And these gameplays would be on YouTube, and I wanted to be like that, but because of the limited technology that I had at the time, I was telling jokes for fun. And if anybody was going to be offended by any of my jokes, anybody could have told me and said that your joke that you just told is offensive. I could have stopped telling that joke. The thing about my jokes, they were meant for fun, and most people liked them. Most people liked them. Otherwise, I wouldn't be telling them. And the problem with what happened was on September the 3rd, 2014, which was the day this one thing happened, nobody even bothered talking with me and saying that this joke is offensive. I probably would have stopped. Honestly, communication is definitely key. Alright, so back to the video.
In my opinion and stuff, but I honestly think that Patrick is a pervert.
Now, I think he got that because of Rodney, honestly. I think Steve K thought that I was a pervert because Rodney said something to Steve. I almost said Gary, but it's actually Steve. I think Rodney said something to Steve, and what actually happened was this thought that Steve K came up with, and thought that I was a pervert based off of what Rodney said. And I will explain what Rodney said after the video is done.
I told everyone about this. I told my grandmother about it. My grandmother believes it as well. And not only that, for what Rodney heard as well, but Rodney thinks as well that he should be reported to the police.
I did.
Now, if I was really telling this joke and it was towards a person, then obviously I would be arrested, honestly, because I remember what happened to Jarrett Fogel, and you probably all know who Jarrett Fogel is. And the difference between me and him is I didn't really do anything wrong, but he did. What he did wrong was have child porn on his computer, and did several other disgusting acts, which I hate. And I hate Jarrett Fogel with a passion, by the way. I used to like him until he committed those sexual acts. Now I hate him with a passion. After he confessed. He confessed to having child porn on his computer and several other despicable acts. So, that's all I really want to explain. If I was actually guilty, I definitely would be arrested, and I would definitely be probably in prison and probably be registered as a sex offender just like Jarrett Fogel. But the problem is that the joke that I told that particular night wasn't meant to be for anybody. So, I will explain more of that as the video is going on.
I did because this is serious.
That's right. Yes, because for one, Patrick is 32 years old or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Now, they said I was 32. I was actually 33 at the time. I was actually 33, and I will explain this. I have never committed a crime in my life. I've never had a criminal record, by the way. I know of a few former classmates of mine that have committed crimes, and surprisingly enough, you're probably not going to believe this, they are registered sex offenders. One of which I do not believe should be, because I think at times the registration for sexual offenders is kind of flawed, and I wish it could be fixed a little. But that's a story for another time. But I will explain about that in the near future. Because I will say, sometimes a person that commits a minor felony that is a sex crime sometimes gets punished as a level 3 sex offender, which I think is crap. I think that person should be a level 1 instead, and not a level 3. I'll explain more about that in the near future. But of course, I will say this: if the person had committed a higher sexual offense, then I definitely believe that person should be in prison. Alright, just like with Gerald Fogel, by the way, like I mentioned. Alright, back to the video.
And saying something like that to a girl in front of her, but he...
Now, I think Steve K thought about that probably because of what Rodney said. I really believe that. And I will explain more about that after this video is done.
know that she was 13. Yeah, 13.
And by the way, I didn't know she was 13. The person that told me she was 13 was Gary Newkirk. And that was after Robin left the chat. This is Rodney's video. I was trying to tell you that Robin was 13, and I did not know that until Gary Newkirk told me after Robin left the chat. All right, moving on.
That is just flat out stupid. That really is. That's one.
Well, Steve, it's not really stupid when you have no knowledge of this one particular person, and the person is almost a complete stranger. Because to me, at the time, Robin was kind of a complete stranger to me, because Robin and me were only on Skype together for 2 Aubrey Skype chats. And the second time, of course, is when this particular thing happened. The September 3rd, 2014 Skype chat thing happened. Alright, back to the video.
I'm just going to say this right now. I care a lot for my friends, and I don't want to see anybody get hurt, you know? Because I care for many people. And one thing I don't like is seeing anybody get hurt, especially somebody like Robin.
What you don't know, and I'm going to explain this, Steve, I did get hurt. I got hurt even more than Robin did. Trust me. Robin didn't get hurt as much as I did. See, the difference between getting hurt unintentionally and getting hurt intentionally hurts more than getting hurt unintentionally. I just wanted to explain that. And I'm just responding to Rodney's red card video. I know that you were in it, Steve. I just wanted to let you know that getting hurt intentionally hurts even more than getting hurt unintentionally. Alright.
I don't want any... Yeah, I like to joke around sometimes, but I don't go as far as saying chocolate, whatever you like, whatever you guys like to call it. Right. Because I want to try and keep the jokes at least PG-13 rating and not so much an R rating.
Now, I agree with you. Craig. I agree with you completely. I do agree. The problem was, when I told the joke, I thought everybody was an adult. I really did. Because I knew Aubrey Scott was an adult. I knew Gary Newkirk that eventually came and was an adult. And I even thought Robin was an adult, honestly. I honestly thought that because Robin was a complete stranger to me. I just wanted to point that out. And I did not know much about her. I didn't know she was under the age of 18 at the time. I always thought that she was an adult. And thanks to Gary, unfortunately, nobody else said her age at all. Because if I would have known about her age, things would have been a lot different. And I probably wouldn't have said that one joke while she was in the chat. Okay.
Well, mainly PG, so. But he made a video as well, like I said, and he said that he did not know that Robin was 13.
And that's also wrong. I did not make a video. I think he's getting that from Rodney, and I will explain. I'll explain after the video.
If he would have known, if she was 13, he would never have said it. Well, it's too late now. You already said it, and you're in big trouble.
See, I think Steve K was confused. I think he thought that I did a video, and I actually didn't because I had a cold at the time. And I think he got that from Rodney, and I am going to explain at the end of the video.
Have you crossed the line?
Even if, oh, sorry about that, Steve.
I'm sorry, I didn't cut you off.
That's good.
But I'm just saying, what you did was very wrong. And I'm telling you that.
I'm going to say this, though. What Rodney did here was wrong. I can't blame it all on you, Steve, because I don't think this collaboration was your intent. I think you decided to do it because of Rodney, honestly. And I really wish Rodney wouldn't have done this red card video, honestly. I'll explain more about that as I watch this video. Alright.
I'm telling you right now that I'm never going to forgive you. I never did like you at all before. You did it,
Now, Steve K, I know for a fact now, has forgiven me. Because I'm not sure how he forgave me. Let me know, Steve, if you forgave me or not, or if it was something else. I don't know. I really don't know. I know that you like me now because we are friends on Facebook. I know that for a fact. This, of course, is being recorded 5 or 6 years after this red card, almost 6 years after this red card video had happened.
And you weren't way you acted. Me neither.
Well, for me, Steve, Cracker Butler was my friend. I didn't think anything was wrong with him until I found out about this incident. But I personally think the chocolate, whatever, I went too far with the jokes.
The problem is, Patrick, is he always was over the line. Anything that he says in there is just right out gross. And it could be.
Well, I'm not going to talk about it yet.
Related to even Corey Lawrence is telling us about him bringing his girlfriend on the call. And that's bad. Nothing has but a girlfriend. And everything. He said to Gary one time that he was in love with Gary.
That's right.
Oh, so it was Gary. It was Gary. I thought it was Rodney. It was either Rodney or Gary. Honestly, I thought. Okay. All right. So now I know that it was Gary that I said this prank. Now I'm going to explain the prank. I used to do a prank to Aubrey Scott, and it was my "I got you" prank. And I would usually tell him that I love him. I'll pretend. And I was trying to get a reaction. And Aubrey Scott would sometimes react, say, "No, I don't." And I would tell, "I got you." So I thought it would be good if I could try it on Gary. Now I realized that it was Gary. I thought it was Rodney at first. It could have been both. And I tried it on either one of them, and it didn't work. So I stopped doing that. And I would only do it to Aubrey Scott. And then after a while, I decided to, up until what happened, of course, I decided to do different ways to get Aubrey instead of using the "I love you" thing. I stopped using it as much because it got too repetitive. So I basically quit doing that. So I wasn't using that as I wasn't taking it seriously or anything like that. I was telling that just for fun to see how Aubrey would react and to basically get him. And it had nothing to do with me loving him sexually or whatever not. I wasn't interested in him sexually. Alright, and now I think it was Craig or Steve. Well, my girlfriend, I will explain this. My girlfriend was pretty controlling. And she would always follow me to whatever not, and I would sometimes have her on the Skype chats, and it was just for fun. And if my girlfriend wouldn't have been as controlling as she was, I think my relationship with her would have been a lot better. I haven't been with her since August of 2016, unfortunately, and I did a red card video on her. Unfortunately, I had to do it because I gave her so many chances, and the way she treated me was crap. Oh, and also, the way she was, and I'm going to explain this. If she would have known about Robin Moore, she would have flipped out. Gladly, I didn't tell her about Robin Moore. Otherwise, Crystal would have thought that I would have wanted to be with her. Trust me, she was terrible. Crystal Jones was terrible. She thought always that I wanted to be with other girls, even underaged ones. Trust me on this. I could tell you stories that you probably wouldn't have believed. And that's basically because of her behavior. Alright, moving on.
And that's bad. He has a girlfriend and everything. He said to Gary one time that he had love with Gary.
That's right.
And I already explained that. That was, like I said, that was my I got you prank. That I tried on Gary and it didn't work. And I didn't really think that anybody was going to give me a strike for that. Because I could have apologized to Gary if he wanted me to. And I'm really sorry for doing that to you one time, Gary. I only did that one time because I thought I would get you. Just like I actually did with Aubrey Scott. Because I would do that same prank to Aubrey Scott and I would always get him. And that's why I did it to you. So, hopefully you're watching this and now you know. Alright, back to the video.
That was a joke to him, but Gary was saying that was very uncomfortable, especially. And I would definitely feel that way.
Oh, and by the way, Gary, I wasn't sexually interested in you. That was all for fun. And you probably already know now because it was that same prank that I would do Aubrey. Alright.
Like I said, I think that Patrick definitely is perverted, like I said, but that is just, what kind of behavior is that for a 30-year-old guy who has all tests and stuff? But that behavior is absolutely stupid. That's not an autism. Even excuse for that. Even you can't. Even people can't use their autism. Having that is not qualified as an excuse, as already said. It is a message video with just 27x95. Right. But I'm just saying, you know. When I said.
Oh, by the way, I don't use autism as an excuse. I know that I have it, okay? I just wanted to let you all know, okay? That's all I gotta say. And trust me, I do have my problems, okay? Alright, back to the video.
That I care a lot of my friends, and when this happened last night, I had a very rough night. I can tell you that I did.
I'll be quite honest with you, Steve K. After what happened, I had a rough night too.
I was up at least until 2:30 a.m.
Oh, I was up quite a bit too. I was up until like 3 or 4 o'clock. And I was talking with Nick Bishop.
Last night, I was very much beyond myself, you know, because I couldn't just bear to see somebody get hurt, but that I really could not.
Oh, trust me, Steve. It's not only Robin Moore that got hurt. Guess who also got hurt? I'll let you know after this video.
Like, everybody was.
Or after I watch this video, excuse me.
Robin told me that her mother was crying to him about it. I was just very sad to hear because I just didn't want to see this happen. Because I had said with Gary as well, and Gary's also with us in the call. And
my TV's on the back room, so you know, like doing something, get a cockroach.
okay, I said to Gary before, and I'm sorry that I did not say this to Mulberry as well, but we said to him, I don't think Robin should be on a call if Patrick Butler is on there because of his potty mouth humor. I don't want to see him. I don't want him saying that kind of stuff because it just is very offensive, and I don't want him doing that in front of somebody like her.
Well, the problem was, Steve, was I didn't know she was underage. I think if I would have known, first off, I probably wouldn't have said anything around her because I was only telling jokes for fun. I don't think she knew me too well. I think she didn't think that I was telling jokes towards Wheel of Fortune categories like occupation or food and drink or whatever not. I think that was the problem too. I think she didn't know me that well. All right, moving on.
Technically, Steve, you should have addressed it, but the thing is, and I'm speak up the truth, he has his own calls that he is running, and he has his own calls. He makes the rules of the calls that he is running, so if he's running his own calls that he's running, he is in control of his running, with all due respect.
I do agree with Gary on that. Because
Pretty much, you can't blame it on us, Steve, of not doing it, because he runs his own calls, we run our own calls. That's the only thing, with all due respect.
But you know, it was like I told Aubrey yesterday, he needs to choose his friends a little bit better. You know, and I don't mean to go off the subject, but I don't think Lee is a cool person either.
Oh, so he does. So Rodney doesn't think Leaf's a good person either. Oh my God. But the thing about it is, I will say this. The problem was, if there would have been communication, I think things would have been a lot better, honestly. I don't think it's with picking his friends. I think it's with communication. If you would have communicated with me better and told me more about Robin more personally, maybe I would have known about her age, maybe I would have known much more details, and maybe I would have explained certain things that I usually do on these Skype chats to Robin, honestly, because Robin Moore is old enough to be my daughter, honestly. And I think with better communication, things would have been a lot better. It has nothing to do with picking your own friends. It's communication. Communication is key. All right.
You know? Yeah. I'm talking about Lee, not Lee, but Lee, L-E-E.
Oh, Lee. Okay, never mind. Lee. I thought it was Leaf at first. Lee. Oh, Lee the shit. It's still funny that Rodney is ridiculous. I will say that Rodney is ridiculous. Trust me. I'm going to be bashing Rodney pretty soon. Because trust me, there's something that you don't know about Rodney that I'm going to tell you. But first, this. And I'm probably going to move this to a part 2 so that way, and it's with the footage that I'm using with the camera, because I'm using 2 cameras, so that way you'll know that. And plus, I've been talking, and the video is almost 10 minutes finished, so.
Because I mean, I noticed during the whole call he was taking over a little bit yesterday. He was talking during the whole call.
Wow. Yeah.
And he just got into our group already. And I mean, but getting back to the point of Patrick, you're a sick, perverted bastard. That's what I gotta tell you, Patrick. You're a sick, perverted bastard. I had you on one call with me last year, and I didn't have him on any more calls on my side after that because he said what he said to Gary.
The problem is, Rodney, I said to Gary because I thought it was going to work. I thought that one particular prank that I usually use with Aubrey Scott would work. And like I said earlier, that I apologize to Gary for saying that. Honestly, Rodney, if you would have had me more on more Skype calls, you would have known me better, honestly. Honestly, Rodney, you did not know me better, and trust me on this. The way you acted, trust me, it wasn't good. Alright.
Yeah, we're doing a double red card video. Steve is filming a video and I'm filming. Yeah, but he's a perverted. He's a pervert. And that's what I'm saying. Even if he did know that she was 13 years old, he should have known not to talk in front of a woman like that.
Here's the problem, Rodney. Here's the problem. That's your assumption. You thought that I was talking to her. Honestly. You obviously did not know my side of the story. You only knew part of my side of the story. You didn't know my full side of the story. Honestly. The way you reacted and decided to do this red card video was ridiculous. And now I'm going to go to a part 2 since I'm worried about the battery life on this, and I'll be talking more in part 2. So stay right here. Peace out and catch you in part 2.